and we'll turn it over to our featured presenter today, the man who created the video on our headset, on our main page. Always entertaining. Tim, you are up, sir.
Hello. Can you hear me? Hi.
Yes, we can.
All right. I've been doing this TV thing for quite a while, but it's still fun. It's always changing. I was there. I remember when they handed us pagers, like in 1982, and the pager was like about that big. And it was, when you're like 22 or 23 years old, and you're still hanging out with college people, you make sure you carry that pager around to show how cool and important you are. So yeah, and I remember the first cell phones were these like big boxes that you carried around. And even before those, when I was working out of Newark News, our New Jersey network, North Jersey bureau, we had like no phones. We had two-way radios. So it was a lot like being a cop. It was very exciting. Plus, we were going to like fires and crime scenes. So, I was living the dream, and I still am to an extent, except it's changed along the way. Everything has gotten smaller and better. But the key is that you have to know how to put the images and the sounds together. So you can hand an iPhone to somebody, and an iPhone takes pictures, video that's better than these big cameras that I have. But if you don't know, how to hold the camera, how to put the stuff together, it's all of the bells and whistles in the world are not going to help you make a better product. So I'm here to let you know, to let anybody know who's thinking about doing videos, that I have the experience going back to the early 80s. And I've adapted over the years, and I've taught myself all the newer stuff. And when I need to find out something that's really new, I just consult with my oldest son, Brian, who's also a videographer. I don't know why he chose to go into this business, but when he was a kid, like 11 or 12, I taught him the basics of Final Cut Pro on my first Mac that I bought back in like he was born in 90, so I guess I taught him 90, he's 12, so the early 2000s. And then he was teaching me stuff. So now he runs this music company where he promotes, sorry about that. He runs a music production business, among other things. He's in a bunch of different bands, but he tries to help musicians manage their assets, manage their money, and because musicians, they don't make that much money. And he tries to help them, get the most out of their money. And so he helps me with any of the newest gadgets that come out in the digital realm. And it's just a great and interesting thing to be able to, if I need to pick somebody's brain, I just, text or email my son. So that's exciting. Lately, I've been working on a lot of projects that relate to history, because I'm a huge history buff. And I've done videos over the years for an organization called Crossroads of the American Revolution. The Crossroads is it's a federally designated area. They basically give the folks a little bit of money, and then they rely upon them to do the rest. And Crossroads is based at the Old Barracks Museum. If anybody remembers class trips, if you're from New Jersey, the class trip, I believe in 5th or 6th grade, was always to the New Jersey State House and the Old Barracks Museum. And so Crossroads is in the Old Barracks, appropriately, because Old Barracks was there, was built to house soldiers in New Jersey for the French and Indian War, because the folks in New Jersey didn't want them staying in their houses, in their basements. So they allocated money to build this barracks so that the British allies could be there to defend New Jerseyans from the French and their Indian allies. Anyway, fast forward a couple of years, the American Revolution, the Hessian, one of the Hessian units is staying at the old barracks. So I'm a huge history buff. I'm a videographer. I go down to the barracks back in like the early 2000s, and I say, look, I want to know about the history of the Battle of Trenton. And they tell me the books to read, and I ask them about, if they need somebody to pitch stories. At the time, I was not doing my own production stuff, but if they had an interesting event coming up related to history, a gathering of the 1st New Jersey Militia, they'll do this event on a Thursday afternoon or a Saturday night. I would go pitch the story to the news director, and they would say, yeah, go shoot it, get a reporter. And, I was not a reporter at the time. I was a videographer, editor, and story pitcher and producer. And so I just became very tuned into things that are history related in New Jersey. And, some of them I get paid for, and some of them are, gratis, but they always come to me. And so my newest project that I'm working on now is going to be a video for the Washington Crossing Park Association. That's the park that's on the New Jersey side. If you ever go down to where George Washington crossed, you have the Pennsylvania Park on the Pennsylvania side and the New Jersey Park on the New Jersey side. And unfortunately, over the years, the key elements of the actual crossing and the really difficult trek from that area, Titusville, it wasn't called Washington Crossing at the time, obviously. So you go from Titusville, New Jersey, down to Trenton. Everybody thinks, or some people think, oh, Washington crossed across, from Pennsylvania to Trenton. No, he crossed 9 miles up. They crossed from Upper Makefield to Titusville, and then they had to march in the snow and the nor'easter for 9 miles to Trenton, and then surprised the Hessians, who, by the way, were not drunk. That's a myth that's been disproven. So anyway, I don't know how I got onto history. I just, I start talking and I ramble. I guess am I up to my 10 minutes, Dennis?
You're getting closer, Tim, but I want to stress and point out how, you're excellent at shaping a story and helping people to do that. I know we're doing it for Relaxed Teams with the Stevens video. You just took those raw clips from our meetings and made that story on the front page, and anyone can see that on the front page. And the way you really hook the video, succinct it, and bring it together, I think is amazing. So, that's something I wanted to, if you want to talk a little bit more about your storytelling pieces and how you can shape a story out of raw video, I think you have a skill that most people don't.
Okay, well, thank you, Dennis, for that. I learned early on that when you start a piece, you need a hook. And so the hook on the piece that we did for Huddles was that news piece thing. It's like a couple of 30 seconds from NBC, horrible things happening, as the pandemic spreads, and then from right out of that, you've established, you've grabbed the folks' attention, and they're listening. And so right out of that, you write a narration that leads out of what that lead just said. As the world changes, people are looking for something to do. And so along comes Huddles, and then we show a shot of us talking and dealing with the pandemic in our own way. When I did a piece on plastics packaging back in, late 80s or early 90s, we needed a hook. And I'm always looking for a hook. So I went out and I researched, and this is, I think, before you could just go on YouTube and find all this stuff. I reached out to like the Plastics Council and asked them about commercials. And they sent me these old TV commercials. And do you remember one called Mr. Clean, ding, ding, ding?
Yes.
I did a series called Plastic Packaging, Here Today, Here Tomorrow. Get it? Here Today, Here Tomorrow. And it's all, it's all so real. These stories are still with us. People are talking about, like the plastics that are in the ocean and the little plastic beads. So I did plastics packaging, and like I said, in like late 80s, early 90s, And I started it with this Mr. Clean commercial, and then it just kind of flowed from there. You know, you say everybody thinks, you know, plastics are convenient, but what are the downside? And then you have your first expert who says, well, yeah, plastics are great, but look at what they do here, X, Y, and Z. And so, yeah, when you do a short feature for what I do now for folks, or even for TV, you're looking for that hook that gets them right at the beginning. And I'd love if anybody wants to, you know, brainstorm about video ideas, even if they don't want to hire me to do it. If they're just thinking that they might want to do a video, you know, you have my email or my phone. Give me a call or reach out, and you know, we'll just brainstorm a little. My brain is here. You're free to pick my brain.
No, and Tim, and it's great, and to see all the work that you do behind the scenes to shape that those videos just don't happen. The hard work you put in to make sure that when it's said and done, and in that 3 to minutes piece, that story has been told, and it's so much more than just shooting a raw footage and running it. I mean, the way you pull it together is wonderful, and tie it with those pieces. So I'm going to open it now up to questions. Does anyone have any specific questions for Tim?
Well, I don't have a question, but I just want to say, Dennis, that I agree with you 100%, because Tim also pulled together something for Vfinity, a 1 minute. We were looking for a 1 minute clip, and he did a sample for us, and we really didn't give him any background. He just went to the website and was able to pull together a great piece. We were amazed at how well it was done, being that we didn't really give him any background. So
money.
He is quite Tim is quite the storyteller.
Yeah.
Thank you, Lisa. I had forgotten about that.
Yeah, it was a great piece.
Well, let's do another.
Who else is up? Any other questions for anyone?
I'll just say real quick, I don't have a question, but also I've been working with Tim. We started some discussions about doing a video for my practice as well. We haven't actually done anything yet, but hopefully we're trying to line up some patients to get some patient testimonials, and put together some video for my social media and website. And Tim's had some really great ideas for me as well. Like I said, nothing concrete yet, but we've been in the works and we've been talking a bunch of times, and I know it'll come out well when we finally get it done.
Thanks, Rachel. And if anybody has not had their myofascial session, you gotta do it. She's amazing. You gotta just go for it and see what it is. It's so different. It's like, I mean, I've done over the years, as I was telling Rachel, with my back, hauling equipment back when the equipment was very heavy. I've been through many rounds of PT and many rounds of chiro, and what she is able to do is just really cool. And I even said to her before I went there, luckily I don't have any major injuries, because a few years ago I got the religion on strengthening the core, and if you strengthen the core, your back pain will go away. And it's really true. I mean, if you work on the core, the back pain, knock on wood, will stay away. So that's something to think about. But if you do have like a lingering injury, Rachel is the person to take care of it for you.
Thank you, Tim. I very much appreciate that. Thank you.
Tim, is your website in the chat? I only see your email. Do you have a website?
Go to his Relax Teams page. All his contact information is right there. If you look at the Central Jersey team page, go to Tim. Tim is, and as far as, awesome storyteller. He's won these Emmys for a reason. And you definitely want to go out to his team's page and connect with him there, and link right through. You'll have all that information. It'll be downloaded, and you can download it. His contact information is there. That's the best place to find him right now. But Tim is someone who, again, we're going to as part of the team, we're going to make sure people find Tim. He's such a great storyteller, and we're going to help him turn that into a better business for himself. As you can tell, he's more focused on the other person and not himself, and we're going to work on that with him.
Yeah, and I'll respond this way by saying that, yeah, the website has been on the #1 on the list for about like 5 years now, but I have a website, you know, I got the domain and everything, but luckily I've been busy, so that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. But I'm going to work on it. I don't know. Do we have any web folks that are on the email?
Paul can help you.
Yeah, Paul.
We
No,
talked.
Paul and I, we've talked.
All right, so you guys pull it together. Very good. Well, thank you. We'll wrap it up here. I just want to tell, Tim, that was, you know, I can't stress enough the great work that you did on the first video, the other videos you do. And I think when we launch the Stevens video, again, you have the script all together. We're going to have that up soon, which kind of talks about what was done behind the scenes at Relax Teams. I think that's going to, again, highlight your skills, sir. So I appreciate everything you do for the organization and just for the community. I mean, your dedication to the history is just, you are a storyteller. You tell stories very well.
Thank you.
All right.